So we're in Vienna for the European Championships. Caroline's heading to the start line and she is off. So Caroline's target for this was a sub 120. Since they went to 100 wall balls for the women, she hasn't gone under 1 hour 20. So yeah, go out steady, get onto the skier and just sort of maintain steady pace, keep her heart rate down. She's done really well coming out of this. She kept her focus when other people were leaving, and here she is just coming out of the skier and heading back out onto the run. So again, she'll come past here in a minute. She looks pretty steady. Her run was really consistent the whole way through today, so that was excellent. Then we get onto the sled push, and this is pretty much a blink and you miss it here. So I've had to go for a slow motion on this one as well. You see her just by the arrow there in the middle. Even in slow motion, it looks like she's running with the sled here. Apologies for the terrible camera work. I'm missing half of that. But there, she's just finishing her first length there. And then we go back into normal speed. She's coming back. I think the judge says to her at this point that she's making it look too easy. Yeah, she has a great time on the sled push. At the end of this, I went back and had a look at some of the data. It turns out she was either the third or the fastest woman overall on the day on sled push. And it turns out she's the joint 14th fastest ever in her age group. And she's also the fastest Brit to ever do the sled push in her age group as well. So she's quite pleased with herself about that. But obviously feeling really good at this point. She comes back just here for her last length and overtakes. I think she overtakes 8, 9, or 10 women at this point coming out of the sled push. So she's had a really great workout there. So then seeing her on the running lap after that sled push, how much is that taken out of her? She comes by again, looks fine, looks pretty consistent, even gives us a wave. So obviously feeling good heading into the sled pull. She has no fear of the sleds at all. She's certainly strong enough, and we've done a couple of mixed doubles together. Recently did one in Turin where I was coming back from injury and completely useless, and she had to basically do all the stations herself. So she's done that on the men's or the women's pro weights. So the women's open sled for her doesn't seem to be too much of a problem. So she's pretty strong here, and just keep it moving. You see her finishing off. This is her last length on the sled pull. So she's just got to get this one to the end, and then she's off out running again. Still looking really good. Not getting any suggestion from her that she's struggling. And there she goes. So I didn't catch her on the run this time, but here we are on the burpees. That Vienna's a really good venue for competing, but for spectating it's not ideal. You could see her right in the middle there, just doing a couple of burpees before she disappears off screen. She said this was a real slog. To catch her on the run this time. She's just sort of at the back of this group of people. You see her go past. It's probably the slowest she looked on the run, but she still looked fine. Looked like she had it under control. Then we get to the rower. Again, not ideal. You can't get very close to the competitors, but she, a bit like the skier, the plan for the rower is just to make steady progress, maintain that heart rate, and be able to come off the rower in pretty good shape, and be able to put the effort in on the run rather than destroy herself on the rower for an extra few seconds, but then lose all that time on the following run. So she's really controlled here on the rower. Then Farmers Carry, probably the most entertaining point on the whole route. We'd seen a couple of guys on the men's race the day before doing this weird twirl at the end rather than just turning the corner. So Caroline decided to do one of those, keep the crowd entertained. And then it was 2 laps on the Farmer's Carry in Vienna, so that's just going around the corner again. Notice she didn't do a twirl at the end of that one. She gives her hands a little rest here, and then just surges out of the Farmer's Carry and back out onto the run. So all she's got left now is run, sandbag lunges, run, wall balls. You can see there's a few blokes out on the course now, so the mixed doubles has just started while she's coming into her 7th run. So the track's a little bit busier than it has been. And here comes Caroline, and she's just going around now. I think that's her last lap before she comes in for the sandbag lunges. So here we go. You wouldn't know it from this first little wobble, but Caroline's really strong on the sandbag lunges. I think she gets stronger and stronger the more these go on. You'll see there's quite a few people in front of her going into here, but by the time she's moved up to the end, she's overtaken a few of these and distanced them quite well as well. Is coming back on the second length of the sandbag lunges. You see she's slowed down a bit, but I think she manages to hold a much better speed than most people do on these sandbag lunges. So she's always reeling people in and going past people. And this was a really strong station to come out from this onto the last run. So here we are, last run done, and she comes running into the wall balls. Now, Caroline has a bit of a hate-hate relationship with wall balls. I think she'll admit herself that on her first HYROX, well, I don't think she'd picked one up before her first HYROX, so her technique wasn't quite there, and she was utterly destroyed. So we've spent a lot of time working on wall balls over the last few months just to try and sort of get it into her head that she can do them, because physically she's more than capable of doing them, but I think a lot of it has been in her head. So she comes in here and she does the first 25 unbroken, which was a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't think she was going to go that hard at it, but that was a really positive thing to see, that she was obviously feeling good. I do have a YouTube short of the evolution of Caroline's wall balls somewhere on YouTube. So if you want to see how she looked at the beginning, this is night and day different. So after this first 25, she had a break and then pulled out another 25 to get halfway. And then I think she'd done either 10s or 15s up to that point, and left her with I think 15 to go, although there might have been a no rep, because she ends up doing 16 here. Bit of a wobble on the first one, but again, to be into the high 80s and 90s of the wall balls, she's looking really strong at this point. She's probably just hoping it's all going to end, and is desperate to get over the line. So here we are, I think 4 to go, just finishing up here, and then, as is customary now, fist bump of the wall ball judge, and she's off and crosses the line. Now, if I've got one complaint here, it's that she didn't try hard enough, because she hasn't collapsed at the end, so there's obviously something left in the tank. But a really excellent performance, and I'll leave it to Faisal.
Time from the UK,